Look at
All
that.
right. I think we're on.
All right.
Hey, everyone. Thank you and welcome to episode 2 of Your Gift podcast. Before we get going today, I just really wanted to thank everybody for all the positive feedback that we got from our first kind of kickoff where we introduced our mission. We've had people reaching out to myself and Toby that were just really drawn to the mission of highlighting people that are giving back and doing good things in their community and sharing their gifts with others. And so we're really, really excited to kind of build this out. And today we have the honor and privilege of having Dr. Bobby Baker with us. And Dr. Baker's in Charleston, South Carolina. You know, he does a lot of awesome things. And today we're going to primarily focus on Computers with a Cause, but we're really eager to hear a little bit more about Dr. Baker, the organization, and what drives you. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm very excited. I'm excited about your all's new program here. I think it's going to help a lot of people, and it's great to be able to help market these nonprofits that really don't have the wherewithal, so or the resources to do it. So that's great. Well, you can kind of guide me how you'd like, but I'll tell you, the Computers with a Cause, the way it got started, about 3 years ago, it was a little bit around this time, I got a flyer from a computer company. They were having a Black Friday sale. and I remember looking at the flyer along with all the other, mail you get at around the time of year and realizing that I didn't need a computer, so I threw the flyer away. And it was almost the minute I let go of the flyer in the trash can, I grabbed it back because something inside me told me that I don't need a computer, but the prices they were having for this Black Friday sale were so good, I thought, you know what, somebody's going to need a computer. So I called them up. It was Dell. I'll give them a plug here. I called Dell. They were having a really good deal going on some laptop computers, and they told me I could only buy 5 of them. That was the limit for Black Friday sale, so I bought 5 of them. And as soon as I placed the order, I thought, well, what am I going to do with them? So when I get them, so I actually called the mayor's office here in Charleston. And I asked them if they had somebody that they could put me in touch with that was kind of in charge of their education programs and so forth. And so they did put me in touch with a really nice gentleman, Mike Wack, who actually ends up being assistant to the mayor. And before long, it wasn't hard to find 5 kids that needed computers. I mean, there were way more than 5 for sure, but we started out with 5, and we had a presentation on the last day of school. The students came, their parents came, their principals came, and they all came to the mayor's office here, and it was really kind of a special event. We had coverage with CBS News and here locally, and some of the newspaper. And the point is that the kids were so grateful. What had happened is that we just picked 5 schools for them to pick out one of their students who they thought could most benefit from a laptop computer. And they had selected those kids, and we presented them to them. And that was the beginning of Computers with a Cause.
Wow. One of the things that I think is fascinating about just the intro to that is you hear stories all the time about people or kids that need something like that. And I heard a story the other day that even though a lot of the schools are providing Chromebooks and things like that to the students, a lot of them don't have internet access.
Yes.
And I heard a story where there was a guy who would drive his kids to the local McDonald's and sit in the driveway or the drive-through or the parking lot of McDonald's to be able to use their Wi-Fi connection so the kids could actually do their schooling right now. So even though there's a lot of opportunity to get computers in the hands, because even though our school system provided a lot of those out, that doesn't necessarily mean they have internet access as well. So, but there's a unique need today that's different than there was even when you started this computer with the cost, just because of the current situation and all the kids that need the equipment. And I'm sure there's kids today that's not learning because they don't have what they need in order to be able to actually have an education today. So I think what you're doing is unbelievably important in today's climate, and it's only going to grow. The need is only going to grow over the next who knows how. So I think that's wonderful.
When we started this, obviously we had no idea a pandemic was coming, and so we weren't geared around that at all. And this year has been interesting for a lot of reasons, but one of the principals of one of the high schools here, called the Early College High School, and she had contacted me, and she said, I know you guys primarily give away computers, but would you consider helping us with getting some hotspots? She said that we've got 12 students that they cannot get access to internet, and at that point, all of their learning was all virtual learning at that time. It was earlier this year. And what was interesting is that our local providers here of internet service, there were some loopholes about, so they had things set up so that a family could get internet for $9.95 a month. And that was their way of giving that resource. But there were some caveats. For example, if the family had had internet within the last 90 days, they weren't eligible. If they owed any money to the cable company, they weren't eligible. So, obviously during COVID, or even before COVID, a lot of families struggling, and they're having trouble certainly paying their cable bill. We all know how expensive that can get, or their internet, whatever provider they're using. And the point is that these kids were getting lost because they had so they were doing exactly what you're saying. In order to keep up, their family was trying to get them to a hotspot nearby somewhere, even though they may live in a remote area. So we were able to find a provider that they sold us, to Computers with a Cause, they sold us 12 hotspots for $600, and they were good for 18 months, unlimited use.
Wow. And
we're a 501c3 corporation, and so we're a nonprofit registered with the federal government. And so between that and the fact that we were explaining the hardship and so forth, we got those hotspots and we delivered them to the school, and the school was elated. I mean, they were so excited because they had these 12 kids, this Early College High School. It's a public high school. They're all bright kids, and what it is it parallels with the local community college. So when they graduate from high school, they actually have an associate's degree at the same time in college.
Wow.
And so, and they're not all A students. A lot of them are B students, and they're actually just trying to get students who have promise and so forth. So anyway, these are kids but they were really on an a program to excel. And the fact that they couldn't have access, they were getting behind very quickly, especially the fact that they were, paralleling all these college classes at the same time. So we continue, to give away computers, and we continue now we're doing the hotspots as well. And we've actually put an application on our website that individuals can go in and apply for a computer, and explain why. We ask them to tell us about their academics, about any hardships they might be experiencing. And we ask them to tell us about what kind of community service they do, because all that's important to me. I like to encourage that as well. And so anyone from anywhere in the country or the world, for that matter, can log into our website, and there are 2 or 3 places that will easily guide you to the application form that says apply for a computer. And sadly, we can't fill all the orders and the requests, but we certainly hope to have more and more donations to help us accomplish that.
Hey, what is the website?
It's computerswithacause.org. And we also have a Facebook page, facebook.com/computerswithacause, or just Computers with a Cause. But yeah, the website, computerswithacause.org.
How long's Computers with a Cause been around?
About 3 years. When we started that Christmas, about 3 years ago, that was the first 5 that we gave out. And then the next year, we ended up having a fundraiser, and the local government was supportive of it. The mayor actually is quite a pianist, so he came and entertained for the program. It was really a lot of fun. And we had it here at one of the local art galleries. They didn't charge us for that either. And so, but we gave out about 25 computers that year. And then this year, we just gave a school, called the Charleston Development Academy. We just gave them, they were in desperate need because they, it's like you said, Toby, just because everybody's gone virtual doesn't mean that all the school systems and schools can afford all of the computers they need to send the kids home. So this school was desperate for like 12 computers. So we just gave them their 12 like about 2 months ago. We were excited. The mayor actually declared it Computers with a Cause Day. And so he was excited that we were helping these kids out a lot. And I don't know, to me, it's been a lot of fun to be able to have the personal interaction. I've always been a one-on-one kind of a person, and I've always dedicated a lot of my time to youth programs. I've been a scoutmaster for years and continue to serve on the scout board here. And so I've always liked, I also am involved with the symphony here, and I'm particularly interested in the youth orchestra that actually that parallels with it. And so I think you really have got to give kids opportunities in life if you really want to see them flourish.
So when you talk about opportunities, what I think is what's a unique opportunity that a lot of people don't look at when you think, okay, well, you're providing a computer for somebody. What you're also providing is the ability to learn anything that you could possibly learn in the world. I mean, because on the internet today, you can pretty much learn anything. You can learn how to play the piano. You can learn how to code software. You can do anything. And there's a lot of people with a lot of opportunities to do a lot of different things just by having that device that gives them that opportunity. I mean, when I try to talk to my son who's 15 about what he can do in this world, the limits to kids today is endless. You can become successful pretty much anywhere doing almost anything. But what you need is the ability to have something that allows you to give you that opportunity. And just by having a computer, most computers now have webcams and everything else built in. So you're going to be able to create videos if you want. You can learn how to edit and mess with audio. You can learn how to fix a car. It really doesn't matter. So the opportunities it's not just learning, it's cultural. You're going to be able, you could bring people out of any situation by giving them an opportunity to have something that they didn't have prior. So I'm kind of curious. Was that something that was a part of the mission where you knew it was just that the education part was extremely important, but just opportunities to learn almost anything?
You know, the answer to that is yes. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you what I consider the opposite of an opportunity is an obstacle.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, one of our primary byline with Computers with a Cause is, or mission, is to eliminate one obstacle in the life of a young, deserving mind, one laptop computer at a time. And so, you know, what we're trying to do is exactly bridge the gap, which is providing that opportunity. You know, you would not believe how many kids we have that want a laptop computer who are from single parent families that are working hard. These kids have just amazed me. There are kids that, I mean, their family situation has just been so rough and so hard, but they've managed to give, I mean, literally hundreds of hours of community service to their church and their other organizations. They've managed to even get, this is pre-COVID, I don't have any stats from this year, but some of them had even taken 7 AP classes in high school. And people who, you know, probably barely knew where their next meal were coming from. So they were getting accepted to all sorts of colleges, and they were trying to get scholarships and loans, but they didn't even have a laptop computer to take with them to college. And we take all these things for granted a lot of times with our kids, and so, you know, I think I'm a firm believer that it only takes one person to change the world, of, you know, good and bad. And so I really think that you know, one of these kids that we're going to give one of these laptop computers to, whether it be in Charleston or Southern Indiana or wherever it be, somebody's gonna, what's the word, overwhelm us with what they're going to do with that one computer. I'm convinced of it. I know it's going to happen, and that's why I keep doing this as long as I can.
Yeah, you know, that story reminds me of one of my favorite quotes. I actually first saw in a book by Bob Goff, but it said, "If all your prayers were answered, would it change just your life or the world?" And so to know that you could change one person's other life, you've changed their world, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I've seen that quote on your, I think on your site, your website, your Facebook page. Yeah.
If you had to think back over the 3 years on one of your favorite stories and connect people to one individual or one school or whatever it is, which one jumps out to you as your favorite?
Well, one of my favorite stories is the fact that one of the first recipients of that first 5 computers, when they came in, again, I didn't select them. The school system helped me pick out the kids that really needed these. So they came in, and I was counting, and there were 6 of them, not 5. And we only had the 5 computers there. We had like red bows at Christmas and so forth for them. And so I said, and then I suddenly noticed that 2 of the girls that were there, they looked a lot alike. They looked a whole lot alike. They were twins, and they were homeless, and they were just getting the one computer to share between the 2 of them. Mm-hmm. And they, so when I thought about that, and I thought about them, you know, being homeless and the 2 that were sharing, I mean, it really made a big impression on me. And, you know, that was the kind of situation that I needed to see to be able to to give me the energy to go out here and do this a lot more and raise a lot more computers. I mean, there are so many situations out there that we just don't have a clue about that are going on. And, we can buy one of these computers for, around $300. Sometimes we get it even a little bit better, but around $300, we'll pretty much guarantee that we'll get one to one of these kids. We don't charge any administrative fees at all, zero. So if somebody listening to this podcast wants to donate a computer or part of a computer or any amount of money they want to help us try to get some computers, they can rest assured that 100% of it is going to go to getting a computer or a hotspot to these kids. Not 1 cent is going to go to any administrative fees.
That's
What's
amazing.
the best way for people to get a hold of you that are interested?
Well, we do have a phone, and Bettina is there at the phone. The phone number would be 843-737-0182. You could also email Bettina, Betina, at computerswithacause.org, or you can email me, drbaker@computerswithacause.org. So we're easy to get a hold of. You can also, there is a link to send us an email on our website as well, computerswithacause.org. And like I said, we are not, even though I'm based here in Charleston, I want this to be a universal program. And we encourage donors from your area for sure. And we encourage, people who are in your area that really need a computer, to apply for one online or have their schools contact us or whoever. And so we can try to get them, in line. There's one other story that I just thought of that, that you asked me one, I'll give you two. That's all right. So, I was reviewing some applications the other day that came in, and I've always thought of getting these computers into the hands of kids. But an interesting thing, I had a single mother from Texas apply for a computer online, and she had lost her job during COVID, and she had 3 children, and she was trying to enroll online with a community college to get some college credits to try to advance herself during the time that she was still looking for work. And she explained her financial situation wasn't good. And I suddenly realized, this is really it's not just for kids, and you think about, there are adults out there who, that don't even have their own laptop, and they may want to go to school online and get some college credits and whatever. And so, there are a lot of people out there that need help. But when I saw that, it really was an awakening for me, and it gave me even more energy to just keep doing this.
That's awesome. And I completely agree on the need, because, we see that in my line of work for my career at Humana, working with seniors, and now with all of the telehealth and the different types of services that people can get, and especially during this time of COVID, the need for technology and the education around the technology is it's growing rapidly. And so I totally agree with you. It's beyond just the needs of kids.
Well, we sure want to try to fill that gap. One of our graphics is a picture of I think it's a boy standing at the edge of a bridge where the center of the bridge had fallen apart. And so you've got one end of the bridge on each side, and this boy standing here trying to figure out how he's going to get to the other side. you know what, there are a lot of ways to do that, but you know what we're trying to do is just bring that computer in, at least get them over that one side of that technology edge, that edge of technology, and try to at least bridge one gap. You know, we can't fix every problem in the world at one time, but we can certainly focus on one thing at a time and try to make a difference.
Yeah, completely.
Well,
Is there anything you'd like to leave us with? Any kind of final thoughts that you'd like to share and make sure people are aware of?
Well, I think, you know, number one, I really enjoyed being on this podcast, and I think it's been it will be a godsend to a lot of nonprofits. You know, whether they support me or our nonprofit or others that you're going to be interviewing in the future, support one of them or something that's dear to your heart. But I guess my last plea would be that, you know, here it is, it's Christmas time, and the New Year's coming up. There'll be a new semester of school out there, and there are going to be a lot of students that are not going to be able to go back to school for various reasons, that are going to need to carry on some studies, and they're going to need a laptop computer, and guess what? Many of them are not going to have one. And we'll get as many into the hands as we can from all the areas. If your listeners out there today will just help us step up, and just, if they can't afford to help us get a laptop, help us get part of a laptop, and we'll keep filling in the gaps. We really hope that'll happen.
That's awesome. We really, really appreciate you coming on today, Dr. Baker. And I know I've very much enjoyed this. You know, this is streaming live on Facebook, but we're going to share it to Instagram and YouTube as well. And then the audio will go to all the various podcast platforms. So if, you know, people are interested or have questions, you know, reach out to Dr. Baker. We'll definitely list all those methods that you had mentioned in the show. And then, you know, or of course, reach out to us, and we can connect you if that works as well.
That's great. Dave, tell me, this has been very exciting, and I've really enjoyed this. I'm sorry, I think you were going to say something.
No, I was just going to say it's been an absolute pleasure to meet you and hear your story. And I'm sure that I know for a fact that you will get additional money for computers to help with because of this podcast. So I'm very excited about that.
All right. Thank you. We look forward to it.
And yeah, I'd love to have you back in the future, talk more about the youth symphony and the orchestra, as well as your work with the Boy Scouts. So they're doing a lot of great things, and we could have some future shows. So I hope you're a repeat guest.
I would love it. Thank you for the invitation. I can assure you I'll accept it in the future.
All right, great. Thank you.
You take
Have
care.
a great weekend.
Merry Christmas, everybody.